Right, for ggplot package, right, basically you need to install one library known as ggplot package. So ggplot2, right? So we need to install ggplot2 package on your RBase machine, right? So once you already install, then you can call library ggplot2, right? So we just need to call library ggplot2 lah, because I already installed it into my R. Right, it's going to take a while to install this package because it's have a lot of dependency. So the reference for this lecture is based on HeliWikM ggplot2 Elegant Graphic for Data Analysis, second edition, 2015. Right, so some of the function is already expired, but I already renew it by replace it with the newer function. So the aim of this topic is to produce a useful graphic with ggplot as quickly as possible. So ggplot package is a very nice package for developing or constructing a graph lah. You can do a lot of graph, either in faceting, and more advanced graph can be created by using ggplot package. So there are three components in every plot, right? So whenever you want to create a graph using a ggplot package, you need to define your data, aesthetic, and geoms. So there are three functions that you need to define before you create your own graph. So for this lecture, I'm going to use dataset from a G-codebook dataset, right? So you need to install a G-codebook dataset. Install package G-codebook dataset like package. So in this package, you're going to have a lot of dataset lah. So we're going to use a dataset from this library, right? So let's say we're going to look at PG mean, right? So this PG mean is a dataset from a G-codebook library, right? So we have group and weight, right? So we're going to see how to create a bar chart from here. So we have three groups. This dataset is already aggregated, right? So if you notice, previously we have done a bar chart for CYL, right? But CYL in empty cars, right? If you look at CYL is not aggregated, it's a raw data. So we have 6, 6, 4, 6, 8, 8, 8, right? So to create a box plot using a base package or ggplot, we need to aggregate the data first lah. But in box plot, we don't need to aggregate first, right? We have another function to do that. So but we need to understand the data, right? So first we look at the distribution of data, the data set itself. So we have aggregated data, control, treatment 1, treatment 2, right? And we have weight. So the first function, right, basic grammar of ggplot2, right? So we need to create define a ggplot, right? Ggplot is the main function of creating a ggplot graph, right? So in ggplot, the first argument will be the data set lah, pg mean, right? So remember, if you look at the developer of the ggplot is from HeliWikM. HeliWikM is also a person created a deployer package, right? So since the same person is creating a deployer package, so we can use a combination of deployer package and ggplot together to create a graph, right? So this is the first argument. The second argument is our aesthetic value. Aesthetic value should be x is equal to group, right? This is a group. X variable is group and y variable is weight, right? So when we hit enter, we will get a blank graph, right? We not yet define any type of graph that we want, right? Remember, in the components of ggplot, we have three components. First is a data set, aesthetic, and geom. So we already defined ggplot, which is data, and we also define the aesthetic, right? So we know that from this definition, it will create a graph. X is a group and Y is weight, right? So let's say we want to create a bar graph, right? Bar graph, bar chart. So let's say we want to create a bar chart. Based on this function, we're going to copy back, right? We're going to add another function named as geom bar. So this is geom bar means that we want to create a bar chart. Geom box plot, we want to create a box plot. Geom point means that we're going to create a scatter diagram. Geom line means a line chart, and so on. So geom bar. So since we have aggregate data, right? We have aggregate data, so we need to input some statistics here inside the graph, which is statistics equal to ident So we will get a bar graph, right? So this is a basic component should be inside the ggplot function. So first we're going to use ggplot function, and then we're going to input the first component, which is our data set. Second is aesthetic, which is which variable is y axis, and in y axis which variable should be in x axis. And next we're going to add a geom bar. So since we can use a combination of dplyr, so we can call library dplyr package, right? So let's say I want to create same graph as previously. So let's say pg min, right? So I'm going to put ggplot AES x equal to group, y equal to weight, right? And then I need to plus with geom bar stat equal to identity. So this is the same one, the same thing. So the best thing about combination of dplyr and ggplot means that we can do a filtering and selecting variable inside in the same code, right? We not without kita tak perlu buat separate codes untuk filtering the data, right? This is the things that we can do in ggplot. So remember, if you can see, right, there are nothing different with the base package, right? You can also create a bar graph, right? But in ggplot package, you can divert the static plot. This is a static plot to a dynamic plot. So to divert to the dynamic plot, we can use a ladder library named as plotly. If you don't have, you need to install first. Let's say I save this as A, right? This graph, I save it as A. So next, if I want to make it dynamic, plotly, sorry, I'm not going to use plotly, ggplotly A. So if you notice, dia divert daripada plot pane to viewer pane, viewer tab. So if you can see now, kalau I hover the mouse on each bar, dia akan keluar label, right? So this is what we call as dynamic lah. We can also zoom, right? Say I want to zoom only this one, right? So I dah zoom, I tak boleh patah balik pula. I lupa cara patah balik. Right. Okay. So basically we have the idea. We can make it as a dynamic plot. So we can add an others argument later on to make it beautiful lah. Right. So this is one of the advantage lah. So let's say I want to create say I'm using this one. So senang nak faham kan. So I want to add name, title, X label, Y label, and so on, right? As we already learned in base package. So I just need to add plus gg title, right? Gg title, instead of using main, I'm using gg title, right? Gg title, let's say this is a bar graph. So it will appear this is a bar graph on top of the graph. And when I need to create X label, should be X label, this is group. So it will change it to group. Right. Same goes to Y lab. Right. Y lab. So Y lab is weight kan. This is weight. For example, this is for illustration only, right? So we will change it to weight, right? And I also can input the colors inside the bar, as we can we already seen on simple base package. So instead of creating more argument, right, I can put it into geombar, right? So you can see geombar are using statistic equal to identity for aggregate data. So I can put colors. Colors is for, let's say I change colors to blue, means that this is going to be a border color. So if you can see, border color is going to be blue, right? Let's say I change it to yellow lah, yellow. So dia akan jadi yellow, right? So if I want to fill in, let's say fill in the color inside the bar, so I just put fill equal to pink, light pink. So it will change it to pink, right? So the function that I change, the argument that I input here, right? So let's say I change it to black. So it will change it to black. Okay, so this is how we create a bar chart using ggplot. So there is another way. Let's say I'm using ggplot empty cars. Right? I just want to demonstrate when we have non-aggregate data. So when you have non-aggregate data, so let's say ggplot empty cars, let's say the x-axis should be the ES, x should be empty, should be CYL as vector, CYL, right? And I'm going to create a geombar without any statistical definition lah. Statistic equal to identity tak payahlah, sebab we don't have any aggregate value. When we have aggregate data, then we need to define a statistic equal to identity. So remember, stat equal to identity is meant for aggregate data, right? So when you don't have aggregate data, you just don't need we don't need to define anything lah, right? So there is another way to create a title. Instead of using gg title, g lab, x lab, y lab, right? We can just put labs, right? And we can define title equal to, this is a, let's say I put it properly lah, the distribution of number of cylinder, right? Boleh nampak? So I make it this one, distribution of cylinder. So let's say I can put subtitle, let's say MPG from 1973 to 1974, right? Right, kalau kita nampak kat sini, dia akan keluar macam ni lah, right? So this is a subtitle. Let's say I want to add tag, right? tag equal to, this is a figure 1, figure 1, figure 1. So dia akan keluar figure 1 kat sini. This is about tag. Let's say I want to create change the X label and Y label. So let's say X should be equal to number of cylinder and Y should be equal to frequency, right? So kalau nampak di sini dia change lah already lah. CYL is number of cylinder, the title for Y axis frequency. Let's say I want to add another one is caption. So let's say data from the 1974 motor trend US magazine. So we can see there is a caption down there, right? Boleh? Any question? So we have two options. So I like to use this one instead of this one, right? So you can choose either one lah. If you like to use a label to put all together, or you want to use like me, GG title, X lab, Y lab. Sometimes I really prefer this one, the old method instead of the newer method. So we can also add colors. Just now already mentioned it to you. We can also add colors on the bar graph, and we can also change the color accordingly as we want. Let's say ggplot. So this one is about colors in the bar. Right, so let's say I ambil satu bar lah, this one. Tak nak ambil this one. Benda yang sama. Right, so if I want to add colors, I can use scale, fill. So dia ada banyak lah. Scale fill ni dia ada brewer, bin, calculation. So there is a lot of scale fill, right? So but for ggplot2 we need to find ggplot2 lah, right? So I have others additional package to be used for scale fill, right? But basically for scale fill we have scale fill gradient 2, and we have gradient n, gray, lagi apa, hue, identity, right? You can see the name of package sebelah sini kan. So if you want more package, more scale fill, you can install GG Themes, GG CSI, right, and so on lah. So they're going to provide many scale fill. So scale fill hue, let's say I'm going to input from 10 to 200. So it will change it to 10 to 200. This is you need to study on the scale fill hue. Right, means that there is a range of colors on hue, right, from 10 to 200, right? So which is pink, right? So if you don't want to specify, you can also make it blank. So it will choose it to you lah, or from it or for you lah. So basically for hue there is dia ada berapa scale lah? Dia ada from 0 to 300 and 60 fill, right? So if you want to manually input the colors, let's say I copy this one, I just want to manually input the colors, so I just put scale fill manual, right? So scale fill manual, so I just put values equal to C. So let's say the first color that I want to input is the purple color, so just copy this one. This one should be on record. The second one will be, let's say, green color, right? Oops. And the third one will be this is this is pink, right? Very light red. So kenapa dia tak ubah oh yeah, because this one I tak change tadi lupa so let's say color black, this one I make it what happened here? Alright, wait I change it to this one. Sekejap this is empty cars. Right, yeah, I forgot something. We need to fill by as factor CYL. Hopefully this one okay. Right, still not okay. Jumba identity, there is no identity here. Yeah, sebab tadi I letak identity kan, because empty cars should not be identity kan. So now you nampak kat sini I tukar colors based on I going to fill in the CYL ni, color CYL based on CYL juga kan. Maksudnya I letak satu function name as fill as factor CYL, maksudnya colors ni akan fill based on CYL. So the first CYL should be on purple, second one is green, the third one is pink. Right? So we need to put fill function as factor CYL. Right? So another one, let's say there is another scale function, scale fill function, which is scale fill discrete. Right? Oops. Apa you buat? Sekejap scale fill discrete, right? So dia akan fill in discrete macam sama juga macam kita tengok dalam base package, right? So the point is we're going to put another argument side of x variable, which is fill as vector CYL, means that dia akan ikut CYL punya label, right? So another one is kita boleh tengok satu lagi, scale fill discrete, kita tukar scale fill brewer, right? So you need to study about scale fill, right? If you want to know more about scale fill, right? Scale fill brewer means that it will use a brewer color from light blue to dark blue, right? So it has a range of color. This is for a suitable for numerical data, but for this data is not really suitable where you need to use a scale fill discrete or scale fill manual. This is a nice one. So scale fill hue also not really suitable for categorical data. Alright, are you clear? Any problems so far? Right, let's look at another type of data graph in bar chart, which is a cluster bar chart. Right, for cluster bar chart, so let's say we're going to use another data set, which is cabbage exponential. So we have cabbage exponential. We have basically two categorical data, right? So this data set is suitable for cluster bar chart lah. So we have for cultivar we have 1, 2 category. For date we have 3 category, day 16, 20 and 21. We have weight, standard deviation and standard error, right? So let's say we want to create a cluster bar chart, right? So same step, ggplot. So we're going to define cabbage exponential, right? And then we're going to define the aesthetic value. Let's say x should be date, right? X should be date, y should be weight only, capital W, right? Weight. And we're going to fill in by cultivar with the capital C, capital C cultivar. So we will get a blank graph, right? Because we not yet define any geom value. The geom component is not in yet. So since this is aggregate data, right? If you can see, this is aggregate data. We have 39 C39, weight is 3.18, right? This is like aggregate data, right? So since we have aggregate data, we're going to input geom bar with the argument stat equal to identity, right? Identity. So if you put like this, we will get a stack bar chart, right? But we don't want a stack bar chart. We just need to we want a cluster bar chart. So we add another argument, which is position equal to dodge, right? So it will become a cluster bar chart, right? So we can change the color. Let's say the bar colors should be equal to black. To change to input the color for each bar lah, right? By default there are no borders kan. So this is the borders color. And then we can also change input our scale fill brewer, right? Let's say palette. So let's say palette, we can use paste 1. So this is a standard one. So if you are familiar with HTML, PHP, right? So you can choose either or what kind of palette you want to use. Let's say scale fill brewer. So kalau kita tengok scale fill brewer ni dalam ggplot ni, dia ada banyak palette. Let's say palettes. This is palette. So palette dia ada banyak. So either diverging, qualitative, sequential. So we have a lot of colors lah. Blue to green, blue to purple, right, and so on lah. So if you want to explore more, then you need to go to this website. Let's say I'm going to paste it to your chat room. Right. You boleh tengok dalam tu, ataupun you boleh pergi ke mana-mana HTML color brewer lah, color brewer. Let's say this is a palette yang kita ada, right? Nampak tak? This is a type of palette lah, right? So palette brewer YIORD ni kita daripada sini, daripada yellow to red lah, dark red. So we can choose lah either one, right? It depends. So you need to do some revision sikit lah. Let's say instead of we want to create a cluster bar chart, let's say we want to create a stack bar chart. So to create a stack bar chart, we just simply remove position equal to dodge lah. So let's say I just copy back this one, right? Position, remove, right? So you will get a stack bar chart. So let you look at using empty car dataset. So let's say I want to create cluster bar chart. Class bar chart for CYL and gear. Oops, gear. Right, so ggplot is the function, empty cars, right? And then AES x equal to, let's say, S vector CYL, right? And Y should be equal to, let's say I'm going to put Y is based on MPG, mile per gallon, and I'm going to fill in by gear, vector gear. So letak kat bawah so you nampak sikit lah. Right, so this is the plot that we're going to the variable that we're going to plot, right? And then we're going to put geom bar, right, without stat equal to identity, because this is not a, for empty car is not aggregate data, right? So we will get basically, oh why sekejap oh, I think because we are using fill, right, that's why we need to input stat equal to identity juga, right? Sebab dia bagi error dekat sini kan. So error dia beritahu kata, so stat count can only have x or y, right? So kalau we have stat equal to identity, so kalau kita nak kita ada fill function, right? So we need to put stat equal to identity lah. So mana tadi? Oh, this one. So stat equal to identity. So this is based on the error they given to us lah. So that's why we need to put stat equal to identity. Then we will get stack bar chart. So then we put position equal to dodge. So we will get a cluster bar chart. And we can input scale field brewer. Right, let's see the same pastel we're going to use. So dia akan dapat this one ya. Right. We can also adjust the width of the bar, let's say by inputting another argument named as width. Let's say width equal to 0.9. So, oops, dia tak tahu palette tu apa. This one should be palette equal to pastel. This is okay, kita boleh ubah nanti. Let's say kita pakai manual lah. Manual. So kita ambil yang sama tadi kita pakai. Let's say this one values equal to this one. Right, let's say kita pakai manual lah, for example. So let's say I put width equal to 0.1. So dia akan lebih kecil lah dia punya bar tu. So we can adjust the width lah. Let's say width equal to 0.5. So dia akan besar sikit. So it depend how large or how width yang you nak lah, right? Kelebaran yang you nak. So for CYL equal to 8, dia are no gear dekat sini kan. Dia are no gear 4. So for stack bar chart sama juga. So we just copy, and instead of putting dodge position equal to dodge, so we just make it like that. Okay. So now later on I will show you how to display the text on the graph, right? So now let's look at another graph for ggplot, which is line chart. So I'm afraid we don't have much time. Maybe we can continue on the next next class. Maybe tomorrow, kan? Tomorrow next class. So once we already finish ggplot, right? So and then I think we can have our test number 1 lah. Right. So to use line chart, right? To develop a line chart, we're going to use geom line. So we're going to use geom line to develop a line chart. So let's say we're going to use dataset name as BOD from a G cookbook. Right, so in BOD dataset we have time and demand, right? Only two variables. So the same function, so ggplot. So the dataset AES, X variable should be time, Y should be equal to demand, right? So that's all, and we just input our geom line. So we will get a very nice line chart. So we can also input point together, overlay the point together as we seen in base package, right? Remember, in base package, if we put B, means that we are putting point and line together again. Remember mana tu saya letak? This is scatter diagram, line chart. So line chart nampak tak? Last time kita dah buat, dia ada L, type equal to L, type equal to B, type equal to O. So kalau kita dalam ggplot, if you put geom point together, so means that it's same as type equal to O. So it will overlay the point on top of the graph lah. Right, and let's say we want to change PCH equal to 2, so we can do so, right? We change the symbol of the point, right? Ataupun kita boleh kata instead of PCH, we can put shape equal to 2, so benda yang sama lah. Shape and PCH are same, right? So in ggplot we call it as shape, right? We can also use a PCH as well. So to make it standardized, we can use PCH lah to remember, kan? So let's say PCH equal to 1. This is a dot. Let's say sec equal size equal to 2 means that we're going to increase the size of point. So for line chart also we can put size equal to 2. So dia akan lebih besar sikit lah. Let's say shape equal to 2, so dia akan lebih kecil sikit. Dia tukar line. So dia tak tahu shape tu apa, kan? So let's say kita tukar LTY. So dia LTY, dia pakai LTY juga. LTY equal to 3 means kita nak tukar type of line, right? So this is how we create a single line chart, right? So let's say we want to create a multiple line chart. Multiple line chart. So multiple line chart, let's say we have we should use different data set. This is BOD, we have only one variable. Let's say tooth grow. So in tooth grow we have two variable, right? Length and dose, right? And supplement we have VC, OJ, and only two, right? Only two category. So same function, ggplot, right? The data set is tooth grow. AES should be X, should be apa nama variable ya? X should be dose, and Y should be equal to len, right? And color by, we put colors by supplement to indicate that we're going to have two lines, right? And this is the only variable definition that we need to put, geom line, and we will get two uh, two graph, but two line. But this one is not nice, right? Because if you can see those 0.5, those 0.5, so we have a lot of values for len, right? So if you can see here, they akan overlap, dia akan dekat atas kan. So this is not a very nice line chart. So a very nice line chart is aggregate line chart, right? So if you are doing design and design analysis of experiment, if you still remember, when you want to see the effect size of or the difference between two groups when you do RCBD LSD test kan, using a one way ANOVA, right? So basically we are plotting the mean, right? The line chart for the mean, right? To see the difference kan. So that's why instead of having raw data, we should aggregate this data. So to aggregate the data, let's say I'm going to aggregate it to TG. So I'm going to dplyr, right? To grow C sub. The first one is sub, and another one is dose. I'm going to summarize by length equal to mean length, right? I'm not going to use dplyr, I'm going to dply. So then I will get this kind of data lah. So I already aggregate the data, right? So this one I'm using the basic library from a dplyr, which is dplyr, right? So plyr ni kita I tak ajar lagi I tak ajar lah. I dah ajar dplyr, should be okay lah, right? Plyr is the same function but a bit difficult compared to dplyr, right? So we will get a very nice aggregate data. So now by using this aggregate data, so ggplot, so TG is the data set, AES, X equal to dose, benda yang sama kan, Y equal to len, right? And then colors should be equal to supplement, right? And then I'm going to add with geom line, right? So now I already get the very nice line chart lah, right? So this is what we call an interaction chart, right? So geom, so I can add in the one geom point, right, to indicate the point of the supplement lah, the mean of length, right? Okay, so let's look at since we already done COVID data, right, in using a line chart in base package. So let's look at a COVID data set. Sempat tak kita habis COVID? So maybe kita stop dekat line chart lah. Later on we will focus on simple one, which is scatter diagram and so on lah. Okay, let's look at a COVID data set. Let's try to develop a line chart using COVID data set. So COVID data set, kita pergi balik dekat this is what it is. COVID-19 Malaysia. So GitHub. So this one lah, kan? So epidemic, and we're going to look into cases Malaysia, right? So I'm going to copy this one, copy this link, and read this one, read.csv. So I think we already done previously, kan? Ingat tak sebelum ni kita dah buat? Mana dah? Sebelum ni kita dah buat, kan? COVID data, right? Okay, this one. So let's copy this one. Okay. Just want to show the difference lah. Huh? So first we need to change the date factor, right? And then I'm using the base package, so I can dapat macam ni, kan? So if you want to use ggplot data1, and then AES, X should be equal to date, and Y should be equal to cases new, right? And then plus geom line. So it's the same graph lah, right? So let's say I want to select for year 2021 only. So I just use filter data 2. So this is the graph that I got from base package. For ggplot package, data 2. So AES, X should be equal to date, and Y should be equal to cases new, right? Tutup semua, okay. Geom line. So we will get the same lah. So you can also, this one from January 2001. Let's say kita tengok yang daripada August lah, August, right? Kita tengok detail. So August only, right? So plot exist macam ni. This is from base package. So ggplot data 4 AES, X should be equal to date, Y should be equal to cases new, right? And we need to plus geom underscore point, geom underscore line. So we will get the same graph, right? So we can make it the graph look nicer, right? So we just put gg title. So let's say this is COVID-19 new cases in Malaysia year 2021. This is for August 2021, right? For August 2021. So, and then let's say I want to add some things. For example, X label. So this is going to represent date with capital D, date, and Y lab. This one should be represent new cases, right? So nampak dia dah ubah, kan? So but if you can see, the graph is not really look nice, kan? Sebab dia punya title dekat tepi, and then semua kecil-kecil, kan? Dia nampak belakang ni background grey, kan? So I want to change the color. So let's say I want to change the color. So just add theme. So you need to study about theme, right? Nanti I akan copy and paste. So theme, kita boleh tengok dekat sini. Let's say question mark theme, right? So dekat theme ni, modify component of a theme. So theme is a powerful way to customize a non-data component of your plot lah. Right, so we have a lot of argument here, right, you can use to modify. Right, so now I will show you some of the basic things. Right, for example, plot title. Right, so setiap argument yang kita pakai dalam ni, let's say I want to change plot title, instead of dia duduk dekat tepi ni ujung, I nak dia duduk dekat tengah. So I'm going to use element underscore text. So dalam element ni dia ada element blank, element drop, right? So means that generate grid, right? Drop from the theme element. Element line is to conjugate with the theme system. Function display how non-data component are drawn, right? Element react is a function to display how non-data. This is for basically for line lah. React is border and background, right? React is for border and background. Element lines is for line. Element text is for text. Element blank is draw nothing. Right, so this is element yang ada dalam plot title. So let's say element text just equal to 0.5. So maksudnya I nak adjust horizontally the title to be on the middle, 0.5. So nampak tak? Sekarang dia dah duduk kat tengah-tengah. Okay. And then I can also change the title, the things kat bawah ni kan. Right. So I nak dia display semua kan. So I put exist.title. I think exist.text. Exist title is date. Exist text dot x means for x variable. Element text, and then I put angle. Angle should be equal to 90 degrees. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, dia change angle to 90 degrees already. Right? So since kita nampak kat sini, since kita dah tukar ke angle 90 degrees, but still kita nak macam, I nak macam ni, I nak macam ini. Maksudnya dia display all the exist kan. Kita dah belajar last time kalau kita tukar rotation kan. This one. Right, kita dah tengok last class. Right. So I nak macam ni. Right. So I nak dia display macam ni last class. So apa yang buat kat sini, so dia dah jadi macam tu. But dia tak display all the dates kan. So I can put another argument which is scale x continuous. Right. So this one I can break the scale x dekat bawah ni. Scale x continuous, so it should be breaks by data for dates. So kalau kita nampak kat sini dah ada break semua lah, semua by date. Right. So this is how we to show all the points in the x-axis lah. Right. We show all the points in x-axis. And this one is to rotate the point in x-axis, the tick lah. Right. And this one is to make title center. Okay, boleh dapat. So let's say so masa tak banyak kan. So ada satu lagi yang nak tunjuk dekat you how to use theme, right? How to use theme. So let's say I nak tambah sikit lagi. right? So I don't want to use I don't want to develop my own theme kan. So I nak guna ready-made theme. So theme underscore uh, let's say I want it to be dark, classic lah, classic. So dia akan jadi classic lah. But again dia akan berubah dekat sini. What you need to do is to copy this one and put down here. Oops, betul. This one tak ada. Right, baru dia akan sama balik lah. So this one I just tunjuk sekali lintas. Nanti on the next class, maybe tomorrow, kita akan tengok detail on how to adjust the theme, how to adjust the background colors and so on lah, by using theme. And X scale continuous, scale X continuous kita dah tengok dah. Nanti kita akan tengok scale Y continuous tomorrow. Right, so kita akan move forward from here, from COVID dataset. Right. So any question before we end our session?
ggplot punya kan ggplot.
This one. Tak boleh. We need to define AES, the aesthetic. So which one is for Y axis and which one is for X axis. Kalau kita tak define the ggplot function, dia tak faham. This is the default lah. So kalau kita tengok ggplot, right? So ggplot dia punya function head file, right? So dia ada AES, mapping equal to AES. AES is by default is 0 lah, nothing kan. So bila nothing, dia tak tahu lagi lah yang mana variable dekat X axis, yang mana variable dekat Y axis. So kita tak tahu, kalau tak letak, then they don't know lah which one is for X axis and Y axis. So to draw a graph, you need to know which variable should be plotted on X axis and which variable should be plotted on Y axis. So that's it. Else, kalau kita nak buat graph such as map graph, right, maybe a geographical graph, then we don't need to specify many, right? For example, we just need to specify only one variable, right? For example, MPG by country, so dia akan sendirilah tanpa perlu X and Y. But it depends on the graph, right? If you want to create a box plot, we can only define one variable. If you are doing the graph that require two variable, X and Y axis, right? So you need to define. So this is the definition. Okay. Ada soalan lagi? So if you have no question, then I think that's all. So 4-5 minit dah. So we continue tomorrow. We will look into how to use theme function, right, to make it graph look nicer. So I already prepared one. For example, this one, right? I prefer it to look clean and nice graph, right? So if you want to use theme, there is another option. So let's say I already done it before. This is by using theme kan. So dia ada banyak lah. So tomorrow kita akan tengok this one, right? How to use theme to make the graph look nicer. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much.